I can do it. Why can't you? If I can choose to center myself and to breathe and to sit still, to watch my thoughts, to disconnect from them, to find joy in knowing that I'm not my emotions and I'm not my thoughts, why can't you? If I can find the bliss in every moment, if I can see the joy in every sunrise, if I can hold, here we go, if I can hold both my love for life, my passion, my joy, all of the good and happy feelings, and at the same time, I can hold all of the grief and the sadness and the anger and the confusion of being a young person in this world, of what's going to happen in the future with myself and my family, and people are dying, my family and the community and nations. Oh my God, what is happening with the international conflict? Like, why can't we just love each other? But I can also hold my joy and my peace. And I choose to witness both. And I'm not going to judge whichever one comes my way at any given moment. If you are in the seat of conscious awareness, boom. If you take the discipline and the practice, and you watch, 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 and oh, you're going away, you're thinking about something, and you're going into it, and you're going into it. The awareness is like, boom, I believe that I'm the thought. Boom, I believe that I'm the feeling. I'm creating this whole world around this feeling and this thought and this paradigm. If you find yourself in that, don't judge that you're in that. You're like, oh, I just found myself. Okay, gently move back to the place, to the seat of consciousness, the seat of the soul, the seat of loving awareness. I can hold both realities, both dualities. It's all an illusion. Separation is an illusion. The good and the bad, the white and the black, left and right, hot and cold. It's really just a spectrum. And that's the truth. Let's think about hot and cold. Let's just do it for a second. If you had a shower with one control and you start at the bottom, it's really frigid cold. As you turn it up, it heats up, it heats up, it heats up. Can we see the real life example that hot and cold are not two separate things? It's actually just the degrees of warmth that are present in the water, right? Kinetic energy. That's what heat is. So cold water is just the absence of kinetic energy. Hot water is the vast presence of kinetic energy because it's really hot. So it's more hot, less hot. Or you could say more cold, less cold, right? Absence of, presence of. And same thing with like our body temperature, just temperature in general. Let's apply this principle to literally everything else. That is the principle of polarity. Because guess what? Things aren't actually that separate. It's all on a spectrum. Everything is on a spectrum. When we see that, we see that we are not this or that ever. We're not separate from, like, I'm not separate from this right here. This is an illusion, right? Like, I present myself as a human being that's animate and moving, and this is just a beautiful tapestry. That's material, but it's not animate. That does not mean we're separate. At the end of the day, we are all just pieces of subatomic particles vibrating at a certain frequency. Our senses make us feel like everything is actually separate. You know, our eyes, our feeling senses, the taste, the hearing, like it's all separate. But really, everything is just atom. Everything is a subatomic particle. That's the sciencey way of saying it. But really, separation is an illusion. Polarity is not this or that. It's just a fluid spectrum. Okay? So, putting that concept into practice. What does that mean? Why is it important in my life? Why should I embody this concept? Let me tell you. When you start embodying this concept, you start seeing people as you. You are them, and they are you. So how are you going to treat other people? How are you going to treat yourself? If you treat yourself with hatred, that's what comes out. If you treat yourself with love and respect, that's what comes out. And other people are just projecting their lack of awareness and their projections of what they don't see in themselves, and then putting that out onto you. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? We actually have such a privilege to choose how we act towards ourselves, because everything else is ourselves. Do we choose to act with the intention of hate, of animosity, of misunderstanding, or do we try to act with compassion, with understanding, with care? Can we get to a level of awareness where we recognize that though the physical body and our human experience sees the separation, that it's not really a separation? We get to that distance, so when we interact with people, we can see it. We can see the separation and choose to not do that. Instead of treating people separate from ourselves and seeing them as the enemy, we can actually come closer to that person by witnessing them as an extension of us in this conscious experiment, this human experiment. By seeing them as an extension of ourselves, we start to see the ailments in the collective consciousness, in humanity. When someone else is angry, that's showing a part of you that could be angry as well. When you see yourself angry, know that you're not alone, and this is just part of the collective. Right now, 2025, in the last couple of years, there has been a rise in polarization, in believing in the illusion of separation, in violence and hatred, but at the same time there has been a rising in love and in joy and in connection, in family, and witnessing each other, an increase in vulnerability. There's been communities that have been rising up and speaking the wisdom of the ages that has been around, maybe hidden sometimes, but it's been around. At this very moment in time, the only thing that can bring us together is the ability to know ourselves, to connect really deep inside, and to witness all of it, all of the spectrum, all of the polarity, and all of the perceived duality, all of our highs and all of our lows. Just sit with it and love every single part of it. Love every single part of our shadows, every single part of us that we don't like at first glance. You know, as a recovering perfectionist, it's okay to have a messy room. You can't see it, but right now my floor is full of stuff because I've just been moving and shaking. There was a part of me that was like, you know what? I should probably clean my room before I film a video, because why should I have a messy room filming a video? But that's putting steps. That's just like using, what kind of logic? I can film a video whenever I want to. I can let divine inspiration guide me and just, I can yap forever. And the cleaning of the room will come. I'm holding both perceived disappointment that I could have in myself and the compassion to not, and choose to interrupt the pattern that has prevented me from speaking what I've wanted to say this whole time, not being on YouTube, and just doing the darn thing. We can choose to not be afraid of ourselves anymore. There's literally nothing stopping us. Anyways, back to the point. I just have been thinking a lot. I've been sitting in my heart a lot over the last couple of years, and truly what I feel is that the microcosm and the macrocosm is a parallel to each other. You see brain neurons. You see the patterns of space stuff. They look the same. The iris of an eye. You see it in space. The golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. It's everywhere in nature. It's everywhere in art. And if you don't know about it, please look it up. It's phenomenal how the patterns of existence go on a little level and on a grand level. And there's math that proves it. There's freaking math that proves it. There's a science behind this. Math can apply to nature and fractals and geometry and all this. Why can't it apply to humans? We are built on like Us humans, we're built on the similar same paradigm as all of this construction, all this experience. Like, there is math behind why my hair curls a certain way. I know so. I do. Math is the language of the universe. So is music. And our human language is just like one of those modalities of expressing. So here I am telling you that basically everything you experience on the inside is a reflection of the outside, and everything that's happening on the outside is just a reflection of the inside. There are wars, and there have been wars happening throughout history. There's fighting, there's polarization, there's all of this. Why? Because of what's happening here. Our lack of, or ignorance of, or not wanting to, or, developing awareness of what's happening on the inside of our bodies and of our minds and of our souls. This fragmentation, this like not seeing how everything is connected and everything that's happening inside of us and how it creates these patterns, and we can truly live more conscious, more fulfilled, more content lives. And it doesn't have to be so conflict oriented. It doesn't have to be an us versus them. It doesn't have to be a me versus me, because that's what it is. Us versus them is me versus me. Every single thing that's out there that you think is against you is actually you just against yourself. I think I just came on here to speak that, especially during these times, please connect to yourself. You deserve it more than anyone. You deserve it more than anyone. You owe it to yourself to fall in love with yourself, to fall in love with all of you, and hold it and be compassionate for it and transmute it. You freaking deserve it. You deserve to walk through the valley of the shadow of death that is this human life, and see all that is. Every triumph, every setback, every tear, every scream, every like bubbling feeling of anger, every inescapable laugh, every inconceivable orgasm, like all of it. You deserve to hold all of it in loving compassion and know that it is part of this beautiful experience that is life. And not be at war with yourself so much. You are only human, okay? There's so many distractions out there that are trying to suck your attention away from what truly is. Social media, the news, work. But even when you're participating in